Hi, I'm Kristen Amdahl with Red Heart Yarns. Today's video is all about the Love My Doll sweater, and this will fit any standard size 18-inch doll. There's color work in this pattern, and there are two ways that you could do this type of color work. You could do it stranded or Intarsia, and we're using Intarsia on this one for a couple of reasons. For one reason, and I'll show you the back side to explain it, Intarsia means we're going to twist the stitches at the beginning and end of the change of color and actually use different balls of the darker color on each side instead of carrying it across, which is what you would do in stranded. And the reason we don't do that on this pattern is, first of all, it would be really bulky in through here, and also because of the colors, I think it would show on the right side that you would see a strand of pink going across the white. So it's just a little neater and cleaner for this particular application to use Intarsia. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do on the chart in this pattern today. There are a few special stitches that are required to know for this pattern. One of them is a make one and a slip knit, but if you read the special stitches section at the beginning of the pattern, it'll go over all of that in detail. What I'm going to show you today is how to start working the color work and follow the chart. So let's get started. Okay, so in the last row of the pattern, the line by line instructions, it told us to place a stitch marker at the beginning and end of the 7 stitches on either side of the center chart portion. So here on the chart, this section is what's in between the 2 stitch markers. So we're not including, on the chart, we're not including these first 7 stitches. So I'm going to knit 7 stitches to the stitch marker. Then slip the stitch marker, and then coming back and looking at the chart, we're going to count across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to knit 11 in the pink. Okay, and then if you look at the chart, the very next stitch is 1 stitch in white. Now, doing just 1 stitch, and even just to start, it is easier sometimes, especially as a beginner, to tie your yarns together. You can untie this when you're going to weave in the ends, but just to get started, it is a little bit easier to tie them first. Also, if we were doing traditional Intarsia, we would start a second ball of yarn on the very next stitch after this 1 stitch, but for this 1 row, I'm going to carry, let's see, well, I'll talk about that when we get there. Let's see, we're going to pull this up nice and close, grab our working yarn, not our tail yarn, knit the 1 stitch in the white, then the very next stitch, switch back to that main ball of pink and knit the next stitch in pink. Now set that down to show you we now have 1 knit stitch in the white. And I did carry the pink over, which would technically be stranded knitting, and that's only because just as a beginner I think it would be easier to join the 3rd ball of yarn on the next row. So that's what I'll show you when we get to the next row. So you just want to knit across this row, and then purl across to the marker, and I'll show you where to go from there. So I've purled across the backside row to the stitch marker. Now before I continue on, I want to check back with my chart, and if you look for row 2, we're going to purl across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then work 3 stitches in white and then 10 stitches in pink. So we're going to purl the 10 pink, and you notice we're starting the white a little bit earlier now. So we're going to pick up the white working yarn, not the tail, and we're going to twist it around the pink, and you can tighten this up after you work your stitches. We're just going to pull it around here, and we're going to purl the 3 whites, and now we're going to add that second ball of pink, because now we're not going to be doing stranded, we're going to be doing Intarsia, which means we're not going to carry the pink across those 3 white stitches. We're going to start a second ball. So I have another ball of yarn ready to go here, and just like we did before, I am going to loosely tie it to the current working yarn, which would be the white. And again, once we get further along and we're ready to weave in the ends or what have you, we can untie these before weaving in the ends and it'll be a nicer join. But it's just a little bit easier as a beginner to have the yarn ready to go. So now we will purl across this row with the new pink. And then going forward on the following rows, you're just going to follow the chart for each given color, changing it as needed, but make sure that you twist the two yarns together before you start knitting them, and that's what will give you this neat little joined line when you're all finished. And then you'll just weave in the ends like you would in any other knit project. The Love My Doll pattern and many, many more are available on the website. So please come check it out at redheart.com.